Welcome back, friends. Thanks for joining. Tonight, I just wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about the senseless act that happened at the Gilroy Garlic Festival. First off, my condolences and prayers to the family of the little 6-year-old boy, the 13-year-old girl, and the 20-year-old young man. This was such a senseless act and did not need to happen. We do know that the shooter was a 19-year-old kid. We don't know his mental state. We do know he was able to purchase a gun legally on his own. We do know that it was premeditated because he cut a hole in the fence with wire cutters. So he knew what he was doing. He knew that he was going there to take people's lives. And I'm sorry, we're seeing far too much of this. What do we do? Now, I know some of you are going to get upset with me, but this is why it's called Tina's Truth, because it's my truth. We have a president that spews hate and racism. And I feel like he's giving people a green light to do the same. We live in a society where hate just runs rampant. Racism, all of these things. There's so many senseless acts that are happening more and more. And for me, it's getting closer to home. When I talked about not knowing the mental stability of the shooter, a little over a month ago, I had a nightmare where I was killed by an active shooter in front of my daughter. And that nightmare traumatized me. I couldn't sleep. I was waking up, screaming, having nightmares on top of nightmares, thinking that people were coming in my house. It messed with me mentally. So I can't imagine this kid saying to some of the people, I'm doing this because I'm very angry. Your mental state is so important, and we need to take care of it just like we do the physical. But what help are we giving to these people that are mentally troubled? What are we doing? What are we doing as a society? What are we doing as a nation? What are we doing? What are you doing to help? I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she talked to me about her feelings from the festival. And she said, you know, there's these young kids that are constantly on video games and constantly on the phones and laptops and watching these games, these video games that are killing and about war and all of these things. And, you know, unfortunately, that's the society that we live in today. That's just how it is. But the bigger question is, are you pouring into these young kids? What are the parents doing to make sure that these kids are going to grow up and be an influence and have a positive effect in the world? If you have a child who's constantly playing video games for 5 hours a day, and it's these games that are killing and all of this stuff, that's gets in their brain. And then when things like this happen, they become so desensitized because they're so used to it. And I'm not blaming parents for allowing their kids to play video games. Please don't think that that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we as adults need to take a stand and start making sure that these kids are able to get out and be great products of society. Pour into them. Let's mentor them. Let's help them along. Depression. We need to start recognizing the signs. We need to start checking in on people and making sure that people are okay. I know that life is busy, and I know that we have our own stuff, but hey, you do not want what happened in Gilroy to happen to some of your family members. So we've got to take a stand. And I'm feeling a little melancholy today because it's just too close to home. I have my best friend who was there, and thank God she's okay. Thank God she's safe. I don't even want to think about what could have happened. But it's time that we take a stand. It's time that we step up and we continue to pour in and to mentor and to minister to these young kids. I don't know the 19-year-old, the shooter, his home life. I don't know. It just breaks my heart. This was such a senseless act, and it didn't need to happen. So my prayers and my thoughts are with Gilroy, and more so the families that lost loved ones. That's Tina's truth.